Hello, hello. Happy Facebook Live time. Happy Thursday and happy September. I can't believe it's September 1st. My name is Melissa Kerman of Melissa's Crafting Treehouse, and I am here tonight with a fun paper crafting project. It's gonna be a fun fold. Super excited about this project. Just finished designing it like half an hour ago. Usually I'm a little bit more on top of things. It's designed further ahead, but this time around had lots going on this week. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about what's been happening with me, some travel, a few announcements, and then we're going to get to the project. So I see people joining in. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Elizabeth. Good to see you here. Comment and say hello. Let me know where you're from. And anything else you want to say, you know, like hello, anything you want. Hi, Cheryl. Good to have you here. So, all right. So this past weekend, I was in New Orleans for the Stampin' Up leadership event. It was a total hoot. Got there on Wednesday, had about a day and a half ahead to just explore and play, and that was really fun. And then the activities started Thursday afternoon. Just to give you some idea of how fun it was, I did so much socializing in the first day and a half that I was there, just Wednesday and Thursday, and then we checked in Thursday afternoon. I literally was hoarse Friday morning when I woke up. And it was just so much fun, socializing, seeing people that I hadn't seen from all over the place. I've been to enough of the Stampin' Up events in general, and then also to the leadership events and the incentive trips and such, that now I know a certain amount of people, so I can go anywhere and like see people. It's so much fun. And I also got to meet my friend. She was a friend before, but now she's a friend and I've met her in person. Mary Beth Ravenscroft. We hung out together. We roomed together. I was afraid that she might not like me as much in person. Anyway, but I think it was all good. We did good. We had a great time together in New Orleans. So it's been super busy and I'm finally kind of getting back to my normal. So that's a little reason why my project wasn't designed ahead of time. Just too much on my plate, but so much fun. And I learned a ton at the Stampin' Up event. The leadership presentations were awesome. Some by outside presenters, some by fellow demonstrators sharing their experience. Wonderful. It was just so much fun. So here I am, I'm back. So there are a few things going on. I have had a special on Blends alcohol markers. You buy 4, you get 1 free from me. So that's basically a 25% discount for anybody who participates. I am working really hard to try to earn the Norwegian FJORDS incentive trip. I have till the end of September. So I really have 30 days left. Today is September 1st. And those of you who bought and have bought over the last couple of weeks and taken advantage of my blends special, thank you so much for doing that. I have been doing a little thermometer to see what my progress is. I'm still a ways away, just saying. But I'm a lot closer than I was a couple of weeks ago. So I will just say the blend special last day is today. Okay. So again, buy 4, get 1 free. And then after you place your order, there is, I have a link in the blog post that you can go to select your blends. I will also send you an email confirmation letting you know that that's what you're eligible for. And there's a link in there to fill out a form and let me know what blend or blends you've gotten. I've had everybody order from 4 blends to 20. And that person got 5 free blends. So that's pretty cool. So I will, of course, be ordering those after people let me know the colors they want and all that, and then sending them out to people. So yay for that. So today's the last day for that. Okay, let's see what else. I also have a class that I'm offering. It's actually a Stamp-A-Stack. So if you've ever done one of those, they are so much fun. It's a great way to get a bunch of cards made really quickly. So the theme for the Stamp-A-Stack I'm offering now is Christmas, and we'll be using the Lights Aglow suite. So if you get a kit in the mail to do this class, you'll be getting a materials cardstock cut to make 4 each of 3 different projects. Now, when you do a stamp attack, you don't want them to be crazy complicated. So the projects are going to be, oh, you like me more in person? Okay. I love that, Mary Beth. Thank you. I'm so glad. Same to you. Anyway, yes, I just saw the comment. So now I'm distracted. Okay, so what was I saying? All right, so yes, so you get materials to make 12 cards. Now in the Stampin' Stack, you also get some product, some of the designer series papers that are part of the Lights to Glow suite. There are 3 different papers, a ribbon, and embellishments. I'm gonna show you those when I turn the face the camera down. And it's a great deal. You get $38 in product value, what you would pay for the product you're getting, for $48. So it's not that much more. There is a little additional charge for shipping. If you're local, you can, of course, not have to pay the shipping, right? Makes sense. All right, so let's see. I am gonna go ahead and turn the camera down, and I'm gonna show you a couple of things. I wanna show you my little thermometer graph, just so you can take a look at that, see where I'm at. It's just penciled all over at this point. It was prettier in my newsletter yesterday, or Tuesday. I sent it Tuesday. And then some of the details about Lights Aglow. So here we go, I'm gonna turn around. Alrighty, so here are some of the basic details for today. So the current host code, anybody who places an order, I just am so grateful because, of course, every little bit counts towards earning the incentive trip. So my host code is right there. If you order the blends, you do need to use the host code on your order to qualify. Now, I set a goal of, I think, 12 people or 12 sets, and I'm ahead of that goal, which is really awesome, but the more the better. So if you still want to take advantage of the blends offer, please feel free to do that. Place an order today before midnight tonight. All right, so what else? The Lights Aglow, again, make 4 each of 3 designs. The RSVP deadline is September 18th, so you've got some time to sign up. So gonna bring in my little flyer for Lights Aglow. So if you're not familiar with this suite, it's gorgeous. It's actually what I'm using tonight in today's project. I'm gonna be doing a different twist on it. I didn't want to do something with just the suite. I wanted to branch out a little bit to show you some of the potential with this suite. So just so you know. So anyway, there we go. You get 12 project kits for each of 3 designs. I'll do the scoring, punching, and die cutting for you. If there's punching, haven't decided yet. Other than I'll be doing all the die cutting except for what is being used by the Twinkling Lights die. So this class does require that you have the Christmas Lights bundle, which includes a stamp set and dies. I'll show you those, and I'm going to be using those today. You'll provide the stamp, ink, and die cut elements, the ones that only for the Twinkling Lights. So if I use anything else, I'll be die cutting that for you. If you don't own the bundle, you can add it to your kit, and I will pay for the shipping of that item for you. You still need to pay tax on that bundle if you do the add-on option. So there are no pre-stamped images. That's by Stampin' Up policy. So just so you know, there's the things that you get in your kit in addition to the 12 project kits. A quarter pack of the Lights Aglow specialty paper, quarter pack of festive foils, quarter pack of the Glimmer specialty designer paper, and let's see, and 1 pack of festive pearls. This is all stuff that goes with the suite. I've got a little, okay, anyway. All right, and then a roll of the gold and vanilla satin edge ribbon. So a bunch is going to go with it, and of course you'll get a printable PDF tutorial with it. And the projects are fairly simple, so it really won't need a video, so all the instructions will be there. So again, it's $48, we get $38 in value. This is the bundle. I'm going to show you the actual bundle itself because that's what we're playing with today. And you have 2 add-on options. One is the Christmas Lights stamp set and Twinkling Lights dies. That's the bundle that we're mostly using for the class. The second add-on option is just the Brightest Glow stamp set, which is also part of that same suite. but it's all the sentiments that go with it. It comes as a bundle, but we're not using the dies for it, so we're not including that as an add-on option. But you can get the bundle too if you want. So that's the registration link, and then you'll get an email following your registration with links to pay for whatever option you're choosing. There's also a tutorial-only option. I offer that because lots of people seem to want it. For this particular class, I really, 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 really want people to buy it with the product because I need the product sales towards earning that incentive trip. So just consider it. If you want the tutorial only option, it is just $14. Okay, so those are all the details about Lights Aglow, and I'll show you the product shortly. And just my little graph, right? So I'm just hand filling it in right now. So I'm 71% towards reaching my goal to the incentive trip. I've got a ways to go, and I've only got 30 days to do it. So I was at 66% about a week ago, and this right here, 85%, I'm 85% of the way towards reaching my 30,000 mark. And that is my annual mark for sales. Stampin' Up! Gives us a bonus when we reach 30,000. So that's sort of my middle level goal. Obviously, I would like to earn the incentive trip, but if I can't, if I get to that 30,000, that'd be wonderful. All right, so that's where I am on my goals. So here I've written that I really want 10 people, that's my G equals my goal, to sign up for this stamp, the Lights Aglow Stamp a Stack. Please consider it. I would appreciate it so much. And I think you're going to love the projects. Okay, so let's take a look at some of those products that go in there. This is the Lights Aglow Suite, some of the projects that Stampin' Up! Designed to go with it. Designer paper, the festive pearls that goes with the class, a roll of the ribbon, and some of the papers there. Now there are 2 bundles, and this is what I was talking about earlier, so I want you to see those. The one I'm using today is this one. It's the Christmas Lights bundle. That's the stamp set, and it has coordinating dies. I'm going to show you that in detail today. The Brightest Glow bundle, these are the sentiments. So if you don't have this, you definitely will have the option to put in another sentiment wherever we've used sentiments. So not to worry about that if you don't have that. I have been told that it's an amazing set of dies. I don't yet have them. I actually literally ordered them yesterday. So that's going to be fun for me to get. Okay, so here's the thing in real life. Christmas Lights stamp set. And then this is the dies. Some of them are missing because I'm using them today, so you'll see those shortly. And then what you're seeing here, these are just some of the pearls. I'm covering these up because these are champagne rhinestones. I do the product shares, right? So I only have a little bit of those embellishments, but you're going to get a whole pack with the class, and then you're also going to get a whole roll of this gorgeous ribbon. Just love that ribbon. And then let's take a look at the papers. So you'll have plenty of designer paper to use for the 12 projects that you'll be getting in the kit, as well as some more. So, and you'll have all the dimensions. So if you want to make more of even the same ones, you can replicate the designs and make more than the 12 on your own. So these are the gorgeous designer papers. These have actually been on back order. They're not available to order right now. So as soon as they are available to order, I'm going to be jumping on that to make sure I can get it for everybody who signs up. At least 10 of you. Okay, this is some of the other designer paper you're going to get. You'll get a 6x12 piece of each of the 3 colors. That's how we got it set up, a quarter of a pack. So not a ton, but enough for your projects plus some. And then you're going to get a quarter pack of this, which is 3 6x12 pieces of this gorgeous glimmer paper. So it's an awesome suite. It's my favorite one in the catalog. The mini catalog. All right, so now for today's project, let's take a look at today's project. It's really, really fun. And, oh my goodness, oop. Okay, here's my project. It's a fun fold. and it opens in a funny way. So I've taken my, I'm not using any of the paper from Lights Aglow. I really wanted, again, to show you sort of the potential with the suite, instead of showing you exactly what you've probably seen a million things of, maybe online, I don't know, with all the products I just showed you, right? Because you're going to get projects if you just sign up for the class with those products. So I wanted to show you a broader look at what this bundle can do. So I've got my elegant trim, and I've just tied it around the card so that I can slip that off. Now, you might want to tell somebody they can slip it off. I did it on purpose so that it would sort of hold the card shut. So you can see I've used some of the embellishments that are part of the bundle or the suite. I've used the stamp set, and then it, of course, opens like that. So just a simple fun fold. I've used some of the glimmer paper and of course the die. But the designer paper is a different suite. It is the Christmas Express. Okay, so I especially wanted to do this, or I'm sorry, it's called Santa Express. Like I said, I wanted to do my project today with a different suite just to show how you can do it in different colors, right? Didn't want to be limited by the colors in the suite. So as you can see, I've played with some of this paper, but it's really fun and a completely different color palette. So I designed with this color palette in mind, and they're just really fun, festive papers. I'm using this on my card. The presents, you know, go so well with a tree. So just this great little scene that you can cut up and use. Let's see what else we got here. Backside. There we go. Fa la 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 la. So there you go. That's all of the Santa Express paper. Very fun paper. So I love that I can use a completely different color scheme and with this same stamp set. Now I'm also using a couple of other products on this. I'm using Merry Christmas from the Celebrate with Tags. This has a set of dies that go with it. They're not in here, but there's some tags. I love this set because it has something for every time of year. Of course, birthday, Christmas, Valentine's, so versatile, and of course winter, so just love that. And I'm using the deckled rectangles, the stitched rectangles, and of course the bundle. All right, let's jump in. So there's my card. Okay, swipe left. Okay, I gotta see the comments. Okay, so we're gonna start with die cutting, and actually I've done some of the die cutting already, so just to give you an idea. So I have taken the two dies in the set. These nest one on top of each other. One of them cuts out the outline, and one of them cuts all the detail. So I've got them lined up here. I've used my washi tape, and I have already cut out my shape. I cut out one in mint macaron here. I don't know if you can see it, but my tree has lots of different colors in it. So I've got my little red garlands, and then I've got different colors all throughout the tree, as if it were a decorated tree. It just seemed right to have lots of different color in there. Now you could use glimmer paper behind there. I looked at glimmer paper behind. I find that it kind of gets lost, and I really wanted to see what was in behind. So I chose to use a variety of colors, and so I'm going to be showing you how I did that. Alrighty, so the other sets of dies, I want to show you, there's a couple of other ones, just want to quickly show you. So there's another one in the set. Again, I really wanted to use this set of dies. So here in the dies, you've got an outline piece, and that's obviously the outline. And then you've got this inside piece that cuts out all that detail. So there are two that I did. This is Tahitian Tide. One in the Tahitian Tide Glimmer, one in the cardstock. These might show up on a card at some point. I was just playing around with the different shapes and see what I could do. So those ones layer on top of each other just like the tree. Now, this one is just a regular snowflake, just like that. but you can see it's solid here. I've taken one of these little itty bitty snowflakes and cut out the center. So all of these little itty bitty snowflakes, this big one, the garland here, they don't have an outside edge. They're basically cutting openings into a larger piece of cardstock. So you really have to use them sort of as a background, I guess, or to create a background, because they don't actually cut out. So anytime, so like this one, you can see, it doesn't have an outline that goes around the whole thing. It's just the detail, cutting out just the little pieces. So anyway, there's nothing like actually cutting the dies out to see what they do. So there's this tiny little tree. Haven't used that yet, but that's another one of the dies in the set. And then there's a bunch of little snowflakes and just fun elements in there. All righty, so set that aside. All right, so behind my tree, the first thing I'm going to start with is adding my red garlands. And I'm going to use my little multi-purpose liquid glue trick. To start with, I'm going to use just some of my multi-purpose liquid glue. I'm going to draw it around sort of where the garland is. I want it to be red. So we'll just do that all around. There's a lot of little details on this design. And doing the tree and getting all those colors in behind is probably the most intricate thing we're going to do today. So we're going to start with that. Now, I kind of pretty much draw my glue on, spread it out a little bit, and then I'm going to let it sit for a few minutes and let it dry out a bit, because I don't want it to ooze when I do my next step. So now, to prepare pieces so that just the garland portion would be covered, I took a piece of Poppy Parade, which is one of the colors that's in this set of designer paper, the Santa Express designer paper, and I cut it at a curve that would mimic the shape of the curve there, and then just trimmed off a little tiny edge. So I've got one little edge right there. That's going to be for my top garland. And then I did the same thing with my two others. So I've got this little edge here, trimmed off a piece, and it's a little bit more than 1/8 of an inch. You just want to make sure it goes the full length. And then I did the same thing for this longest one for the bottom. So that's how I got started with that. So we're still letting that sit and dry. So I'm gonna hold that. So now you can see this, right? The die is already out of there, but this is how I had it set up to cut this piece. So you can do it at the same time if you want, and washi tape is always really handy for holding it down and getting an even edge, right, around the outer piece, between the inner and the outer piece, I should say. All right, and we're going to be using this second one in just a bit. All righty, so while that is drying, we're going to start by doing some of the stamping that's going to go in behind the tree. So you can see I've got snowflakes. I love these delicate snowflakes. I'm going to be using these two elements from the set. Anybody else out there like a super snowflake fan? I think snowflakes are one of my favorite things. They're right up there with trees. So we're going to do this in a bunch of different places, varying my position, varying how much shows up on the edge. I just want it to look kind of organic and different. Do one kind of towards the top and bottom. And then I'm going to grab this second one and stamp this. Now, with a stamp like this, oh, you love snowflakes too, Roz? Wonderful. Bonnie, you too? Yay, I'm not alone. And they're so neutral and flexible, right? It's not like a Christmas tree. Snowflakes, it's just all winter long. It can be Christmas or it can be something else. So I am going to, with a stamp like this, because it's different elements throughout, every time I do it, I'm going to turn the stamp. I don't want it to look like I've done a row of the same images and that they, so like those two look exactly the same. Probably not going to notice, but either way, I'm going to just turn it each time. And I'll bring this tree in to gauge how much I'm filling it out. And let's do that one there. I like that this is kind of stars and snowflakes all at the same time. It's like, is it a snowflake or is it a star? That's probably enough. What I'm using here is mint macaron ink, in case you were wondering. Yes, and the other thing about snowflakes I love, as Jolene is pointing out, you can use it for winter, for January, you can use it for winter birthdays. It doesn't have to be even, you know, a Christmas holiday or anything like that. Or so versatile. Okay, so we got that layer. Now I've got, this is where I use the stitched rectangle dies, just by the way, and just so you know which size. It's this one right here, which is the third largest in the set. I'm also using this die for the sentiment from the rectangles stitch dies. And then from the deckled rectangles, and these are fairly new, so just fun to play with. This is the second largest that I've done with the shaded spruce. So when I was messing with this, I tried to do this layer with deckled and this with deckled, but I liked just the little element of deckled and then the more sort of controlled element that was the stitched rectangle dies. So that was the combination that just felt right to me. Isn't that pretty just by itself there? You can see I have one of the die cut elements that I'm going to be using later. That's with the glimmer paper, the gold glimmer paper. All right, it looks to me like my tree. The glue on there is still a little bit white in spots, but it's mostly clear. It's only been a few minutes, but I think it's fine to start attaching these. So I am just going to place my Poppy Parade pieces over the glue so that they're covering the line. So let's just make sure. So there you go, you can see it. It's covering the line underneath. And I am going a little bit outside past where the Poppy Parade is, but that's fine because it's all going to get stuck to another piece eventually. Now we'll do this next Poppy Parade piece. And even though some of that's white, I'm still not getting it on my fingers, right? It's dry enough so that it's really mostly tacky and not goopy. So not only does it not ooze out the holes in the front and make a big mess on the front, it also means it doesn't make a mess on my fingers either. So I love that. All right, so there's my step one. We're going to set that aside for a second. Now, here's the way that I managed to get multiple colors under this tree. I thought of a couple ways to do it. I got a piece off the side here I'm just messing with. Okay, hold on. All right, so I've got strips of cardstock here. Now, this color combination, never in a million years would I put those three colors together. Just saying. Same with this shaded spruce. I got the color scheme from looking at the Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper. So it's a great jumping off point to use the Stampin' Up! Designer Series paper to come up with color schemes that you might never have thought of. So what I did before I got on camera was, and this is how I did this one, is I laid my pieces out, strategically planning them so that the dots would, the color coming through would look sort of mixed up, and be in patches, but not be like, you know, stripped straight across. So it looked like, you know, this is petal pink, mint macaron, granny apple green, and then so on. So I laid them each out. I put adhesive on the back sides of each of them so that I knew that none of the spots where the two colors meet would show up in the middle of a dot. And I just did that one at a time. It took me a little bit of time to do it, which is why I did it off camera, because I didn't want to have you guys watching me, having to watch me do it. All right, so how am I going to get that in behind there? This is how I'm going to do it. So I've got my piece here, and I know, okay, I'm trying to remember how I did that. Oh, yes, okay. I have to remember. Okay, so I'm going to line this up exactly where it's going to be in the end. And again, so like down there, you can see part of the pink and part of the mint macaron. So I'm going to reposition it slightly. Just doing a quick scan of all my exposed dots. Make sure that they all look okay, and I think they do. Okay, so that's going to be right there. And then I'm going to put this over the top. You're like, what is she doing? Now, some of that got cut off at the bottom, but I'll explain to you in just a bit why that's perfectly fine. So now, I'm going to take one of these strips at a time. It has adhesive on the back side. And then I'm just going to place this over the top where it was underneath onto the mint macaron piece, okay? Now I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to remove the mint macaron piece. I'm going to put that on top. Okay. And then next up, and I'm keeping it lined up exactly where it was. My green piece. I thought also that it might be handy to have this one die cut so I could see that it's covering the holes. So like here it's covering in behind the red, but no big deal, right? Because that's covered by the red already. Okay, so we're going to get that one in there. Let's see. We're going to test this and make sure it looks right when we're done. Okay, so I knew there was a spot that needed a slight tweak. Like there. It doesn't have to be continuous. There it's red, but that spot under there needs to be covered. Okay, and then we're going to grab our last little piece. Cover that spot. Okay, so now you're like, now what? This is actually going to be what's in behind, all right? Now this piece I want to be ever so much smaller so that it doesn't stick out and we don't see the edges. So, and I'm doing this slightly different from how I did it on that one. But bottom line, I am going to cut around and I'm going to cut off a little bit of this tree because I don't need it to go all the way to the edge. In fact, I don't even want it to go all the way to the edge. I just need to know that it's going to be covered. So I'm actually trimming off some of that mint macaron, but having the tree there helps me to know that it's going to cover all the dots that need to be covered. So there we go. And I can just snip off that top element. Okay. And down the side. I can even kind of go straight, but okay. All that excess now gone. All right. So now I can turn this over. And I know it's basically gonna line up as just like I want it to. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is I'm gonna grab my white glue again, my multi-purpose liquid glue, and I'm gonna draw on my white glue all over where it's going to then attach to the piece I just worked on. Now there are little tiny details in here. itty bitty openings that are like just a pin. I don't know if you can see those little pin size openings. So you don't want to put the glue on those. We don't want it to ooze out, but I'm going to let this dry again just like I did the last one, so you won't have to worry so much about the oozing. All right. I like the tip of this multi-purpose liquid glue because it's kind of, you know, a little bit of a point, right? So pretty much drawing it on. Okay, now so just say, this is not, I'm going to emphasize that strongly, ever going to be a Stamp-A-Stack card. Because it's way too much work and time. Now, not for me anyway. It might be for somebody else, but this is definitely much more complex than any Stamp-A-Stack card would be. Okay, so now I'm going to set that aside. We're going to work on some of the other elements of the card. While that dries, we need just maybe, I don't know, 5-10 minutes or something to let that sit off to the side. All right, let's grab the other pieces to construct our card. So basic card base, 5.5 by 8.5, folded in half. I could have scored this, but when I did this earlier, it was just as easy to fold it back on itself and then just press that down. The score line, if you were going to do it, it's half of this width. This is 4 1/4, so that would be scored at 2 1/8. So if you want to score it instead of fold it like I did, by all means, go for it. All right, so this piece, the ho ho ho, which is so fun, is going to go on this panel here. Now, one of the things I really like about this card and the Lights Aglow bundle that I'm working with is that the tree, in some context, right, in the context of the very elegant designer paper that it goes with, is just super elegant, right? But it's versatile enough so it goes with this more happy, jolly paper as well, right? So it's doesn't just have to be one thing. All right, so I've got the front element there. Now this white piece is what's going to go on the inside. I've got adhesive on the back of these. These are my little recycled plasticized sheets. It just makes it easier for me. Now, what I'm going to actually do is I'm going to start by attaching the white piece because I may decide that I want to cover up a little bit more. So when I put my pieces on, actually, let's do this small piece first. I like to have the same edge size. So if I've got, you know, this edge, that edge, and this one, generally speaking, I want them to be close in width. Because I've got all these folds in here, it affects what you're playing with, right? So I don't want double the width in here. So I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to take this white piece, and I want to kind of butt it up closer to the crease so that I can generally have about the same edge thickness, the top and the bottom and the sides. Now you can see there's extra here, but that's why I saved my designer paper piece for last, because now I can line it up over here and it can cover up some of that excess shaded spruce, and I can still have the same size edge. So there we go. All right, now for my sentiment on the inside, on this one, I used, again, the Merry Christmas from Celebrate with Tags. I heat embossed it with gold embossing powder on a piece of petal pink. Now again, I don't usually think about it as Christmas, but you know, those presents are that color, so why not, right? And then I put some of the glitter paper in behind from the suite. So I had done 2 different versions, because that's what I do. I play around. One was Poppy Parade, one was the petal pink. So I thought, well, let's do the inside of this one with Poppy Parade. I have it done already, right? So I've got some adhesive on the back of this, but because I'm putting it onto this textured glitter paper, I'm going to actually add some white glue in there. And I'm not going to let it dry because I don't want it to ooze off the edge, but I do want it to kind of ooze into the crevices of the glimmer paper to make sure that it actually sticks. So I am not going to wait, and I didn't go too close to the edge because I would risk it oozing out if I did, but I did generously use it on the towards the center. So now we've got our sentiment piece. Now that'll take a minute to dry, but not too long. And I do have adhesive on the back of the glimmer paper already. So that's just going to get attached in here. Now, you may notice, right, it's on there, it's on the inside. You would think it was going to show, but because I've got the deckled layer there, it's actually covering it. So I just have to make sure that I'm doing it in such a way that it'll be covered. So let's just hold that on there and just, yeah, you know, something like that. Just make sure I'm doing that okay. It's pretty with the Poppy Parade. What do you guys think? The red and gold together. Yes, very pretty. I'm glad you like it, Melissa. I like it too. So if I didn't have that front piece, right, I'd be like, what? Why are you doing that? But because I have this front element, it all works. All right, so let's go ahead and attach this piece. I have, again, one of my little plasticized pieces because I have adhesive just on that one side. Oh, I'm glad you made it, Julia. No worries that you're late. You just go back and watch. Now, on this side, I did do 3 strips of adhesive because it's the only thing that is holding it down since there's nothing on the right side since it's a flap. So I was generous with how much adhesive I used on the left. All right. So there we got that. Now let's look and see how our tree over here is doing. And if you don't have one of these silicone craft mats, I highly recommend it. It's great when you're working with adhesive. So you can see that's mostly dry. I got a couple little white spots, but they're dry enough so that it's not going to ooze and get goopy all over. So now let's find the exact right spot we want this. And, okay, so, I can hold it at the top because there's no glue at the top. But the tricky thing is that I'm not going to be able to tell if it's in the right spot until it's down close. So I'm seeing a spot where it's... Okay. I'm going to get quiet here for a second, concentrate on what I'm doing. Higher. Might have to trim off that bottom just a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just inspecting. Do I see any spots that don't look right? That are revealing things that shouldn't be revealed? It's got to go down just a little bit. All right, I think we got it. Okay, I'm going to just trim off a little bit down here at the bottom so it doesn't stick out. Again, as long as I'm covering all the dots, I'm good. So there's my back side. All right, so there we go. Subtle but pretty, right? It's a Christmas tree. It should have multiple colors in it. All those ornaments on the top, right? Okay, let's grab some dimensionals And I am not going to put any right down at the bottom because remember, my little cord is going to tuck up under there. And so I want it to not get in the way of the cord. So I'm going to do it sort of just a bit up from the center, and from the bottom rather. And then I've got a little mini glue dot for on top of the star. Now the star actually has little holes in it, but we're going to cover that up with an embellishment, so we don't necessarily need to worry about it. All right. We are in the home stretch here. So let's go ahead and grab our elegant, Simply Elegant trim. Okay, now this comes in a pack of 1 roll of silver and 1 roll of gold. I have managed to accumulate multiples because I use the gold more often than the silver. And they all fit in the same bag, even though you only get 2 rolls, 1 of each. But anyway. So if you don't know this tip, this is a really cool little tip. This stuff tends to like unravel, right? So if you cut a little notch in your little roll there, you can wedge it down in there and then it won't unroll. So just FYI. Can't remember where I heard that tip, but it's a really good one. All right. Let's see how much I need here. And I am doing a bow. I want to make sure that I have enough. Where's my little notch? There's my notch. So I'm going to get it into the notch so that it doesn't unwind while I'm doing this. Let's see if I have enough length here. I might not. Yeah, that's probably good. Probably need a little bit more. Okay, so you can see that, right? Just wants to unwind. Okay, and my little notch is at the top. There we go. All right, so now, the cool thing about this is I'm going to actually make a knot to start with because it's really hard to tie a bow and get it and keep it tight, especially with this kind of cord. So I'm just going to tie it kind of snug. Got my finger in there. Holding it on there until the very last second. And there we go. Now we got a nice tight knot. And then I can just easily tie my bow without worrying about having to keep the whole thing tight. And now that's just about exactly the length that I need. I'm going to just trim off just a tiny bit. And I'm going to slide it a little bit to the right. All right. Now let's get our tree in here. Now notice I've got that bottom space so that it's not going to impair the cord from coming off from just when I'm ready for it to come off. And I've got one of these little pieces. Did I use the right size? I think I have this. Yeah, I have the smaller one. Let's see if I have a big one around here. I actually cut multiples. And there are 3 sizes of these cute little, you know, they could be flowers. They could be snowflakes. Those are 3 sizes that come with the dies. What I used on here was this largest of the 3, not that one. So we're going to use that one instead. Now, the funny thing is, it kind of looks like a flower, but it's it lines up perfectly with the top of the tree shape. So I figure that was intentional. So even if it, you know, kind of doesn't look like a star, I think that it's sort of trying to be a star. So I'm gonna just, I've got a glue dot on the back there, just put it on. And I'm just gonna line that up. Now there's another element in the set of dies that I thought about using. I'll show you it. But it just didn't look right to me, so there's that one. I think that's supposed to be like a star that goes on the top. But it just looked too big. I don't know. You might like it, but it felt too big to me. Just so you know, that's another option for the top of your tree. And actually, if you're looking at the stamp set, the top of the tree is that shape. So I think maybe if you're stamping the tree, that it would work just perfectly well to use that at the top. So just food for thought. All right, so let's go ahead and attach this to the front of the card. I got a few more quick little things to do. My little mini garbage pail here, also known as a recycled embellishment container. Got to have it for those dimensional backings. Okay. Let's get it centered, side to side. There we go. Okay. Got two more quick things to do. I'm going to use one of these champagne rhinestones for the center of my star. And these are sort of chameleons. These little rhinestones. They sort of have a little pinkish hue to them, or goldish, depending on what you're looking at. And it's just going to add a nice little additional element to the center. So it kind of has taken on the look of that gold. Wider red ribbon adhered to the back of the base would look great too. The back of the base. I was thinking of red ribbon. Now, the thing about this is actually Poppy Parade, and when I actually played around with some red cardstock as an option, and it really looked different. Like, it didn't look right to me. So the Poppy Parade it's not as red, I guess. It's a little bit, maybe a slight hue of orangey. I don't know. But anyway, I'm not exactly sure where you mean, but when I took red ribbon that I had, it didn't look right with this red. I don't know. That was just me. All right, so I'm going to use now some of the gold embellishments. Again, these are one of the things you get with the Lights Aglow class. And I'm just going to place a few in some strategic spots on the tree, just to add a little bit more gold in there. And let's see, maybe that one needs to go more, a little bit towards the center. These little gold embellishments are so shiny. You can see them up close on the camera. So there we go. And then if you do want to add your cord back on, you can just kind of bow it a little bit and tuck it on there. And there you go. I so rarely make exactly the same card a second time. But there you go, I did it. I did it. There's a lot of detail to this, so I wasn't prepared to mix things up. Now, there was one other detail I thought about adding to this, and I'm going to see what you guys think. I might just add it to one of them. So my favorite new punch is this little punch here. I used it in the class I taught on Tuesday, the tarnished foil class. The Very Best Trio Punch. And so this obviously cuts off just the corner of your paper, right? But this one creates a really nice, interesting, sort of elegant edge. So, but the tricky thing about this, right, is, so I've got my cardstock here, it says up, I wrote up on it. So when I punched these two corners, the two that are opposite, I punched it with this side up. To get them all looking correct, you have to turn the paper over to the two opposite corners. So let's just see what that looks like just for fun. And then I'm just rotating it with the cardstock still facing in the same direction. So there's a cute little element that you can create. Now, if you don't do that, if you don't turn the paper on the two opposite corners, when you punch it, you'll get just a really funky, weird looking thing. So let's just do it just to show. So I'm just going around in a circle, doing all the corners. So this shape is not symmetrical. So see what you get? I don't know if you can see that so well. But so that part is rounded and that goes in, right? And then, so they alternate. It doesn't look right. It looks just so weird. So that's word to the wise. If you're going to use this punch, that's my trick. Now, I did punch some corners so that I could consider putting some around the edge of this one. Okay, this little embellishment it's not looking right to me. I think it needs to be right there. Okay, I'm changing it. So I've taken some of these little corners that I've punched with the shaded spruce, put some multi-purpose liquid glue on the back, let it dry. So now you can see I'm handling it. It's not getting on my fingers. Now the way I like these is I like this edge to be at the top and this sort of straight little pointy part to come down the edge. So I'm going to just go ahead and take the leap and put these on here. And then we'll have two to compare the look. So I did 4 of these. Now, if you decide that you want to use this punch in this way, it's really easy to do it with cardstock because cardstock is the same. It's the same on both sides, right? But if you use it with something like foil or the glimmer paper, you have to do the same trick that I was describing before. So do 2 with the glimmer facing up. And then when you do the second 2, if you want corners the way I'm doing it, turn it over and punch the other 2. So that's my other little trick with this. My newest favorite punch, the Very Best Trio. This is in the mini catalog, the Very Best Trio punch. It has a stamp set that it coordinates with. What the name? It's a sentiment set, actually. It's a really good sentiment set. What is it called? Very Best Occasions. So there you go. There's my little second option. I tried this with the corners with the gold, but it was just too much. Kind of took away from the whole thing. Just wanted it to be more subtle and blend in. So do you guys prefer one or the other? I think those corners are fun. Very fun. Gives it a really kind of different look. So there you go. Alrighty, I'm going to turn the camera around, finish up, let you guys get on your merry way. Okay. Okay. Hello, I'm back. I hope you enjoyed that project with the Lights Aglow suite and paired with the Santa Express Designer Series paper. Oh, you like the corners, MJ? Wonderful. And you too, Jennifer? I love that. Let's see. Okay, yes. All right. Thank you for letting me know, Laura Lee. Yes, there was some varying opinions about those corners on the cards on Tuesday night. I'm so glad you enjoyed the project. So consider signing up for the Lights Aglow Stamp-A-Stack for Christmas. And of course, the projects will not be nearly as complicated as this one because you'd be making your Christmas cards until next year. If it was. They'll be simpler, clean and simple, but beautiful. The deadline for that again is September 18th. So you'll have time to sign up for it, but still don't delay. And remember that my Blends alcohol marker special ends tonight at midnight. So take advantage of that if you want to get an extra blends for free. I love the Blends alcohol markers. Favorite coloring tool of all time. I actually am not a big colorer, but if I'm going to color, blends are my go-to. I love them. So now I have to do like a class or some Facebook Lives with blends, right? Because there's a lot of things to do with them. So that's on my agenda. Let's see what else. I will have in the description of this video a link to the flyer that I showed you tonight for Lights Aglow. That has a link to register in it. So that will be in the description as soon as I'm able to get it in there. So I have to, you know, as soon as I stop going live, I have to go find the video. It takes me a few minutes to get that stuff in there, but you can watch for it in there. And I will have the dimensions and the details, the supplies and all that in a blog post that will go live on Saturday. And this video will be on YouTube then as well. So if you're watching live or the replay, either on Facebook or YouTube, thank you for joining me. Thank you for participating in today's paper crafting activity. So let me see. Oh yeah, so next week, I am actually going to go live next week. My plan, if I, you know, this is my goal, is I'm going to go live every week in September. I'm doing a lot of things in September, all with the goal in mind of earning the Stampin' Up! Incentive trip by the end of the month. So I am just putting everything I possibly can into it. And that means being here more with you guys. So stay tuned next week. So that will be September 8th, I believe is next Thursday, 7 p.m. Eastern time for another paper crafting project. And if that wasn't enough, I'm going to be going live next week in the Maker's Mojo Creative Escapes page as well. I haven't decided what I'm doing, but I will probably give you some sneak peeks of things we've done at past events. And talking just a little bit about Maker's Mojo. We have our autumn Maker's Mojo coming in October. You can register now anytime you want. We had an early bird registration, but registration is actually still open for that event, which will be on October 29th and 30th. And if you are not familiar with Maker's Mojo, it's an amazing online event. I am one of 5 presenters. We do 10 live project presentations. You get PDFs and videos after the fact. So it's all a bunch of amazing projects with lots of variations. Usually it's 35 to 40 different project variations that you see to inspire you to use the products you have at home. You may also be inspired to purchase things, but that's not our intention. It's just really a way for it to help you get creative with what you have. So that's going to be next week too. At this point, my plan is to go live on Tuesday the 6th, middle of the day, so 1 p.m. And then, of course, Thursday I'll be live in the evening at 7 p.m. So lots of paper crafting next week. So join me. Put it on your calendar and plan to play with me. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Have a wonderful weekend and happy crafting. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.